So it's been 6 days. Let's play catch up. All right. So last week I was just handling different things. I took my medical card, for example, and I got it laminated. I got it cut down to 2 different sizes. So one I could fold in half and put it in my wallet. And the other one I could carry in my shirt pocket. That way it's a little bit bigger if I needed it. And that way I always have it twice on me. And that way I'm covered. Okay. So that was really the only real interesting thing that happened. I ended up on Friday receiving my itinerary. And in that, it said that depending on your, the contract that you were going to be driving under would determine what your dress code was. And because it said that, I was going to be driving and that I have a dress code of long sleeve shirts and long pants. Well, I don't have any of those anymore. I have not had any in a long time. The last long pants I have like a dress suit. I'm not about to wear dress pants like that, every single day, because it's what I think it was originally with the tux, but it didn't look like regular tux pants. So they were very nice. And then I found a jacket that worked well with it, and we ended up using it for that. But you can't exactly do that. The last pants I had, I don't even wear jeans. I'm one of those year-round short guys. So I was like, so am I okay to wear shorts? Because I long sleeve shirts and stuff I could probably get a hold of, because I have, I like wearing button up shirts at work. And so wear the button up shirt and then wear the long, like undershirt that wicks away sweat and has SPF protection, that kind of stuff. But no, that wasn't allowed. They said, no, it's got to be a long sleeve shirt and long pants. So I was like, great. So in addition to basically having to get steel or safety toed boots and with 6-inch uppers and it has to be oil and grease resistant, slip resistant, and it has to be have that upper. Anyway, though, so Friday was a shopping day. I went and my mom is good at shopping, so we got together and she was like, oh, well, if you want boots, go here. And we went to Academy Sports and got the boots. And as I was leaving, she's like, do you have good gloves? I'm like, I got good gloves. There's like one little bitty place that has a hole in one of the fingers. And she's like, oh, you got to have new gloves. I'm like, okay, fine. So I got those. And, she sponsored this trip because she enjoys the shopping. She likes being helpful, that kind of thing. So that was nice. It was a really nice thing for her to do. She didn't have to. And then I had already gone because I'm like, look, I don't want to end up spending, a whole bunch of money. I just got through, spending a whole bunch of, money on other things and stuff like that. Like the sunglasses, for example, I needed new sunglasses, and the ones I have, they're not like really good. And, so her husband, my mom remarried a few years ago. Her husband, he was in the military for years, and he knows sunglasses because in the military, you can't not see. And so he was, when I asked him about sunglasses, he was like, oh, well, what you need is this. He told me what to get, and I've ordered them. They should be here tomorrow. And so those new sunglasses are going to be awesome. There was, a few other things like, but I tell you, with regards to shirts, I didn't want to just spend, $200 on Amazon or in person or something like that, JCPenney or any place really, just stocking up on shirts. So my mom suggested, she said, why don't you go to Goodwill? Okay, I'll try it. Why not? And I went there and, ended up finding 8 long sleeve shirts that were all pretty nice. Surprisingly, in all, it cost me, I bought like 4 at one place and 4 at another. And then after that, went up to meet up with my mom. That's when we were going to do the other shopping, because I was asking her where can I go for like, get good deal on boots or something like that. And she said, well, let's meet up. And we went out. So, But no, the shirts weren't bad. The shirts actually look functional and surprisingly nice. And by the time you add like a safety, high vis vest over it anyway, it's all you're seeing is the sleeves and the button up part. So, it'll look nice and it'll be comfy. And surprisingly, they didn't smell. So that's really, really nice. Because my mom was saying, well, just soak them in vinegar for a good day or so and then wash them. And she was smelling them and said, yeah, I don't think you're going to need to. So that was cool. So with regards to pants, I was looking around, and of course, mom being mom, she ended up doing some Google searches and found out what are good for truck drivers that need to get underneath trailers and stuff like that. And so she found a few different ones for me to check out. And one of them is a brand that I've bought from before. Actually, all three of them I bought, from before. But this one was one that I hadn't used in a long time, and they make good stuff if you get the right cut. And we ended up getting Wranglers. Wrangler, well, here's the thing. Ordered them, they said true to size. When they arrived, it was the same exact size of the pants that I was wearing at that time. So I was like, I don't know what size pants I am, because I haven't rebought pants in a long time. And I looked at my pants and they were a little on the loose side. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go ahead and order this size. That way I have a little bit extra room in there. And because it was a weekend, by the time they ordered, and they didn't arrive until Sunday, they arrived and they were a bit on the tight side. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to end up getting pants that are too tight. So I said, all right, well, you know what? let me just think about it. So I went to sleep, and that was basically yesterday. I got everything together and made sure that I had my birth certificate. I came to find out my passport had expired by like a month. When I went to look at it, I was like, you know what, I could probably turn it in. They might accept it, but then they're not allowed, I don't think, to accept expired documents legally for a I-9 verification. So I was like, you know what, just bring the birth certificate. Brought the CDL, pack up things, got things ready to go. And went to bed very disciplined about 9:30. And I went to sleep with no distractions. So I wasn't watching anything or listening to anything, but I was stirring. My mind was racing. And the reason why is because there was a little bit of information that I had seen online about Schneider used to have a physical. Now, I'm not scared of a physical, but what I was nervous about is having to be in uniform and being told to dress in this, and the only pants that I had were the ones that were too tight, and I was concerned about moving in those, because you know how if something's overly tight, you can't move correctly in it, and I don't want to end up having to do a physical if my movement's restricted. I used to be a martial arts instructor. I used to do a lot of martial arts, and one of the things I know is that you're supposed to wear loose stuff that you can move freely in. And pants that are too tight, you can't move very well in, but I don't want to violate dress code on the first day. So I was thinking about that, had a hard time, woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't get back to sleep. So it was like 3-something a.m., close to 3:30. I think it was a little before that. And I went ahead and just packaged up the pants and got it ready to ship back to Amazon. And Mom and I were together when they were purchased. So I asked her, I basically I was like, can you return them for me? And so I bagged them up and dropped off at her house just before 4 a.m. But I was trying to think about what to do. I didn't want to wear shorts and violate my my dress code, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to wear something overly tight. And then I remembered that I happened to have in a bag of spare clothes that sometimes I would keep, at work or something like that, in case I'd get rained on or something like that and wanted to change clothes, but I hadn't been in there for a long time, but it's clean, is I had a pair of jeans from I haven't even seen them or looked at them in 6 years. And I tried them on. They were a little on the snug side also, but they were a lot better than the Wranglers. So I went ahead and put those on and said, all right, I'm going to go with these today. And all the while I was like, okay, well, if I need to, I can just unbutton the top button or something like that. And it was a little bit snug on like, the upper part, like, the last like 3 or 4 inches down from the waist. Anyway, so I drove on, dropped off the pants. So my mom an email saying, can you return these, please? Because I don't have a printer. So she'd print out the form and then return it. And anyway, so I then added the pants to my cart, because I happened to notice that the Wranglers over since they were purchased the first time, they had dropped a few dollars. So there was a limited time sale. So I said, well, let me jump on this. I want black pants because I like wearing black. Black pretty much goes with anything. And they were like reinforced knee with a gusset crotch and that kind of stuff. And they were nice. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go with these. And I added it to the cart. And didn't want to just necessarily pull the trigger on it just yet. But then I drove there. I was sitting there I got there to Schneider about 5:45 a.m. and I'd already checked it on Google Maps and stuff. Knew where it was. Got there, parked out front. They have a security gate, but I couldn't get in there. But, so I pulled up there and I waited. And then about 6:15 or so, I saw a couple people approaching. So I went ahead and got out of the car and went inside, sat down. And they put all the experienced and the experienced people together in this one room, and it was packed with like 20, 22, something like that, people in there. I think like 8 or 9 of them were experienced and 13 of us were inexperienced. And, they're over there talking and just, and sharing their stories and stuff, where they come from and what they've been doing. And then, they kind of pulled us all in there, and then they said they put on a video. Or actually, I take that back. We watched a very short, like 1 minute long video, and then they kind of did a presentation. It was one of the guys that's in charge of training. And he was very interactive. He was very good. I think his name was Chris, and he was extremely good. I mean, as people speak there, their system, they have a microphone that is able to hear your voice, and it's able to, in about a 1 or 2 second delay, type out on the screen what it is. So if you can't hear him, you can look at the screen and read it. And that was really cool. I mean, granted, I was almost distracting because, I was paying attention to them and then looking to him and then looking, but he was very engaging. He was like, what does this mean? And what about this? And these are our core values. And one thing that I was very impressed with is that Schneider has 4 core values, and the first one is safety. That's good, because I know I said a few days ago I wasn't going to be a pushover when it comes down to safety, and that's true. I'm still not going to. And with Schneider, I hope I don't have to go there. But if it's the first core value, and someone does, say, well, you need to do this, and if I don't feel safe to drive, I'll say, hey, first core value. If I'm not safe to drive, I'm not going to do it. I need to take a power nap or whatever. That's going to be something they can't argue with. And if they do, it's against the core value of the company. I don't want a break policy. So that's one of those things where I appreciate that. It's good. I mean, and here's the thing. As we went throughout the day, one of the things that was kind of interesting, they took my birth certificate and they took my CDL and they took photocopies of it and stuff. They pulled me aside, and even though quite literally a month and a half ago is when, like 50 days ago, I had my DOT physical, they went ahead and redid it. I was one of 2 people in the class. They said, oh, they said, oh, most of you aren't going to be getting a physical. Only 2 of you in here. And so I was like, oh, okay. So instantly I was like relaxed, because the pants were a little tight, and I was like, I don't want to end up having to do a whole bunch of things with tight-ish pants. And then at one point they were like, all right, yeah, there's only 2 people in here that don't take the physical. It's Smith and Williams. I'm like, so it's like, it is me after all. So instantly I started getting alarmed. I was like, oh geez, what are they going to do? But they ended up having to redo the DOT physical stuff. And I think I told you, when I took the physical the last time, they put me in a room with like the air conditioner blasting and it made my contacts dry. Well, this time I'm sitting here looking at the screen, constantly just doing this number and keeping my eyes open, because if I look at a screen for a long period of time, my contacts get dry. It doesn't happen if I'm driving. It doesn't happen if I'm walking around, moving, anything like that. It's only if I have too much screen time. And my eyes stay open too long. And so my contact lenses got dry. Then they were like, oh yeah, we're going to pull you aside for your physical. They told me it was going to be after lunch. They said, don't eat, don't eat if you got a physical. And it's like, well, what are they going to make you do? And they're like, just don't eat. And it's like, okay. So anyway, it was about an hour before lunch. They pulled me and said, well, go ahead and do your physical and your drug thing and everything. It's funny because she pulled me aside. She said, we're just going to cut some of your hair off. I thought it was going to be like follicles, pulling them out of the root or something like that. But apparently she just came and she said, we're going to take it from the back. By the way, consequently, when I got home with my family, my wife looked over and said, did you cut your hair? And I'm like, no, I didn't, but the doctor did. And she's like, oh, well, it looks, you tell me. I don't know if it looks like it had a haircut or something like that, or a really weird cut, but hey, I don't care. I don't care about hair. It's fine. And you know what? If they needed to to know that I don't do drugs or whatever, that's fine. I don't care about hair. I don't care about hair. Sound like a Southern guy. Wonder why. Anyway, so she took me, sitting there staring at the screen. I forgot to take my eye drops. So I go and she stands me up in front of the screen at the thing, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, geez, my eyes are dry again. So I know it sounds like an excuse to anyone who's watching. It's like, you made the same excuse last time. But the thing is, though, last time I was looking at, it was that I was in the air conditioning, and I was like, being, had the air blowing at me full blast in that freezing room. And just air blowing on me. And this time it was my eyes were open and looking at the screen. So it's just like, I know it sounds like excuses, but I promise contacts get dry, and both of those times they happen to be dry, and they're prescription, and they're up to date. So it's like, weird. Anyway, I still passed. It just took me a second. I was like, okay, give me a second, rolling around my eyes here. I'm like, okay, all right, C, E, T, Z, whatever. Anyway, it was fine. Then she took me into this other room, and she took the blood pressure and check weight and all that kind of stuff. And then the physical portion was very interesting to me. She says, okay, stand up. And I'm like, okay. She says, do 5 jumping jacks. I'm like, only 5? Okay. I did 5 jumping jacks. And then she says, all right. She says, look up. So I look up, look down, look left, look right. And then she says, stand on one foot, now stand on the other. And I did all that. And then she's like, you're good. I'm like, that's it? And she's like, yeah, that's it. Now I was actually nervous that she was, so I had like butterflies going and stuff like that. I was like, I'm going to have to like loosen the belt or something like that. And I can't just take off the pants. That wouldn't be decent. But, I was like, oh geez, what's going to happen? Anyway, I was nervous. And then she's like, yeah, you're good. I'm like, oh, that's it. Okay. 5 jumping jacks. Who couldn't do 5 jumping jacks? Who can't? Well, I guess some people might not be able to do jumping jacks or stand on one leg for a few moments or something like that, I guess. Look left and right, up and down. I guess she's probably checking range of motion. That might be what it is. It might not be the actual activity itself, but to see if I can take my arms over my head, or I'm going to start, doing this number. That might have been what it was. Might have just been a way to check the mobility, because when I was doing the jumping jacks, I was looking at her eyes, and she did track my hands up. She looked at one hand and then the other. So that might have been what it was. And then look up and down. So she might have been doing a range of motion just in case you have to, get up and pull something down or whatever. Maybe. It's no touch freight. So who knows? You still have to use a winch and strap things down, but regardless. Okay. So I went back, and one of the things that's kind of interesting is that they basically throw modules at you. So you log into the computer, they show you how to do that, and then they just go down this, do this module, do this one, now do this one, now fill out this, now at this point go over to the tablet, log in there, do all your start paperwork and stuff, now go back over here, continue watching modules, and it's just like nonstop watching. And then sometimes they'll just say, okay, and they'll get up there and teach something, and it's like their videos don't stop. You can't pause them, so they're continuing to talk. It's like, great, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch this module because I want to pay attention to the instruction. And one thing that was very interesting that they said at the very beginning of the day, just like over at 160, they said they have a very strict cell phone policy. And they said you get one warning, and this is your first and only warning, that when you're there, you're not to use your cell phone. Now, I'm Generation X. So I was around before cell phones. I can put the thing down and not worry about it. Not, oh my gosh, I'm not checking my Facebook status. I haven't sent out a tweet in 10 minutes. Haven't taken a picture of some food and put it up on Instagram, whatever it happens to be. I don't do that stuff anyway. So I can easily put down any of that stuff. That's no problem. But I do know that there was a couple of people in there that were having some issues with that today. And at the end of the day, he said, this was your first day, so I had to give a couple people warnings. Tomorrow there will be no warning. Tomorrow you will go home. He said today, it's like, okay. He says, I gave a couple of people warnings, but you're not getting warnings anymore. Says, if you can't put your phone down while you're doing instruction in the classroom, you're not going to be able to put it down when you're behind the wheel. So there you go. You know what? That's perfectly logical and reasonable to me. It's like, and it's one of those things I thought about even sitting here and saying, so what do I think about this policy? It sounds very reasonable. It doesn't sound at all far-fetched, because guess what? When you have a CDL, you're a commercial driver. You're a professional driver. You're someone that is being paid to drive. If the number one core value of the company is safety, you are being paid to safely drive. And then they had of the modules that we did today, 6 to 8 of them were about distracted driving. Well, guess what? You are being paid to drive. You are being paid not to be distracted while driving. You are being paid to do your job. If you were working on an assembly line, you can't sit there with your phone in one hand and, drop a piece of cheese on top of a bread or whatever the thing is in the assembly line that you're doing. You can't do that. You stay focused on what you're doing. And this is one of those things where, to me, in CDL school, Schneider, people online, they talk about distractions, because when you're driving an 80,000 pound vehicle, you have limited stopping potential. You have to be able to anticipate. You have to be able to see what's coming. So do I think any of this is unreasonable? Absolutely not. Not at all. To me, the fact that the company is making this very strict, policy where, for example, they have a policy that says you are not to even wear a headset. So if you're thinking about, I'll get a job as a driver, I'm going to wear a single ear headset. That way I can take calls. They say no distractions. So don't take calls. They say turn off your phone when you're going to be driving. Okay. What about music? They say you probably shouldn't. And now they did say you shouldn't have distractions like music, because music will distract. But then they did say turn it down to a low volume. That way you can hear over it. So I don't know. I'm assuming that they don't want you to listen to audiobooks or have a CB radio, because that would involve, grabbing the thing and talking back or something like that. Honestly, though, I can't really imagine wanting to, I like the idea of a CB radio if you happen to be going in a place that has bad weather. I don't necessarily require the need to get on it and talk. But to me, it would be nice, if it's not against company policy, if I could, if there was a little input, an auxiliary input on the stereo, the truck stereo, or something like that, where even if I connect up Bluetooth, I'd put one of those Bluetooth transmitters coming straight out of an old, it was a Realistic Pro 39 Hyperscan. It's old, like a 1990s police scanner from Radio Shack. It was $200 or $300 at the time. I picked one up a couple years ago, but that could just sit there and sit on the CB radio frequency, sit in the truck, and then I could just patch it through the radio and keep it down. And that way, if I'm driving down the road, I don't have to have any distractions. I'll just turn up the volume. Turn up the volume, and I can listen to the CB radio if I need to find out about weather conditions. Got to find out if that's company policy, if that's against company policy or not. Now, I do know that electronic devices and stuff like that are off, are against the rules. Some people, on YouTube, they'll put a camera on their forehead and then drive. Schneider didn't allow that. So no, and I wouldn't do that anyway. As a matter of fact, when I made the decision to get a commercial driver's license, I knew that it was going to require taking driving seriously, because anytime you do something, casually, you don't necessarily take it as seriously as you do if you do something professionally, or at least I do. So I knew that meant that I was going to have to make a few changes. One of those is that I, admittedly, I have driven distracted in the past. I mean, and it would be like taking a phone call or something like that. There have been times that I haven't been holding a camera or anything like that, but there's been a camera on recording like the front or recording whatever in the car. And I've, said, hey, we're approaching this and we're doing this. And I've talked to it. I mean, but I've made the decision that when I decided that I was going to get the CDL, I don't think I mentioned it in a log, but I made the decision that I wasn't going to do that anymore. I was also going to make sure that at all cost, drive slower, start training myself early to drive under the speed limit. So it feels like I'm a grandfather all of a sudden, but you know what? I want to start developing that muscle memory. So I started doing that. Not muscle memory. I wanted to start developing that non-sense of urgency, let's say, when driving down the road. So all of a sudden I went from being one of those people that would be in the left lane and would routinely go 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, but not faster than that, to driving maybe at the speed limit, maybe a little bit less, and being in one of the right lanes. That and the fact that I'm not going to turn a camera or anything like that on myself anymore. I've already made that commitment. I mean, that was done. I mean, I got the CDL. I think I started this. When did I get the CDL? It was in like very, very early summer, and I had made this decision and stuff in spring. It was before I got the CDL. Before I even like decided I was going to be doing this. So better late than never, right? So yeah, none of that would be going forward, obviously. And so no, if you're watching this channel and expecting me to drive down the road with a camera sitting on the window, I do have an Insta360 X3, and I'm not going to be using that in the truck. But what I will do with it, I've already thought about this. As soon as I'm out in the truck, wherever I stop for the night, I'm going to use this adapter, put it in that, run it up on the end of a stick, and get a 360 panoramic in 72 megapixels, and just get a nice good picture of wherever I happen to be. So if I'm in the middle of the desert, at a truck stop, if I happen to be in a big city, wherever I happen to be, it'd be really cool to, fly it up there. Not a drone, not a drone at all, but stick it up on a pole. And, I don't even have to necessarily, I could go if there's trucks and stuff all around and it feels it's safe to do so. I might go in front of the truck, because, well, actually not in the front of the truck, because the truck would be like in the front of the truck would be in a place that trucks could be going by, but maybe in the side next to the truck. If my door opened up into the side of a trailer or another truck, open it up and lift it up right there. That way it's safe and out of the way. Maybe do it there. Might also end up just cracking the door open, or who knows, I might end up, obviously, like I said, it wouldn't be a drone, but I think it'd be kind of cool to go around the country and take pictures straight up of whatever it happens to be. And it'd be a 360. So if I'm at a truck stop, it might be kind of cool to see what's around. It'd be kind of cool. Something to think about. But today for day one, it was a lot of just individual learning, and then, we're going to teach you something. So it's like, have to go back and redo that module to learn about what I missed. And, so far I'll say that, the lunch situation, the way it was with lunch is that, we're all adults. If you need to go to the restroom, you go to the restroom. If you need to, go grab a snack or something like that, go grab a snack. If you need to get some water, get some water. If you want to get sent home and get terminated, use your phone. No, but for lunch, they basically said, we're going to be working through lunch. So you're on the clock. So obviously no cell phones. And if they released us for 30 minutes or something like that, you could probably step out and make a phone call and go to your car or something like that. No problem. But if you're on the clock, do your business, go back inside. For lunch, what do they do for lunch? Well, they end up having a little it was all self-serve, so it's on your honor. They give you a little number with a tag on it, and that tag has a barcode on it. And basically you go in there and they have like sandwiches, and they have different things and drinks and snacks and chips and candy and beef sticks and all kinds of things. And you just grab what it is you want, and there's prices on it, and you take it over and you scan it. Now, if you get a sandwich, you get a bag of chips, you get a drink. You'll end up being, depending on which ones you get, maybe just under $10, maybe slightly over $10. The thing is, though, the vouchers only have $10 on it. So one girl went up there and her total was like $10.22, but it did not give her, she tried to actually pay the balance, and it was like, no, you don't have the money. And so she was like, well, what can I do? And it wasn't actually today. Maybe it'll be different tomorrow, but today it wasn't letting her. My total was $10.17 when I had a barbecue, a buffalo chicken wrap. And then I added on a beef stick. The beef stick was marked up to like $4 and so much. I mean, a big honking, like big, thick, long, I forgot what they're called. They're called fatty something. They're really good. Very flavorful. It's like $4 for a beef stick there at the store. And then it was like $5 and change for the buffalo chicken sandwich. And total was like $10.17. Someone else's total was like $10.14. It's like, they really don't want you to have something like that, because if it doesn't let you pay the overage. So I guess they want you to have like one chip, because you can't get 2 sandwiches or something like that, because then it would be like 10 something. You can't get a beef stick and a sandwich, because then it would be 10 something. You can't get something else in. But you know what? They're being generous enough to actually give you a voucher for lunch. So can't really complain. You can actually get what you want. It's already there. You can use it. You could go to the store and use a credit card and buy something on your own if you'd like to. It's nice to have it available. So no, there's no complaints from me. I just was kind of finding it funny that most of the prices ended up being right over 10 as opposed to right under 10. So that way, if you got a drink, a bag of chips, and a sandwich or something like that, might be right under 10. But if you wanted to grab like one of the 2 beef sticks or something like that, and a sandwich, no drink, might be right over 10. Anyway, it's kind of funny. There was a few people kind of like me, more carnivorous, that wanted to have the buffalo chicken wrap with the shredded cheese on it and a beef stick, but weren't able to. That's okay. All in all, I think it was a good day, a good first day. They let us out at 10. No, just under 10. It's like 9.5 hours. So they let us out at 4. My home office is not in my city. I'm not going to say where it was, but it's kind of interesting. I don't know why it's not in my city, but maybe that's the nearest office that deals with pods. I don't know. What I do know is that it's not in my city. So I don't know if that I don't think when they send me home for a 34-hour reset, I'm going to drive in, have to park there in that city, and then drive home. That didn't seem right, because it would be a few hours away. And then after the 34-hour reset, I have to drive back to pick up the truck. Schneider's a big company. I would like to think they would have a place more locally that I would just drop off my car in a secure location, take the truck out for 3 weeks, bring it back, do my reset, and have 4 days off and whatever, get my car. I don't know. Be interested to see how it all works out. But all in all, everybody seemed nice. My instructor this week, or at least today, was James. James is a really nice guy. So everybody seems like they seem very focused. It's not, no one's joking around. Everyone's helpful. The guy next to me is German. And there was a couple of things that he was trying to understand how to spell something at one point. I helped him with that, and he was trying to understand something, so I helped him with that. And the person on the other side of him also was very helpful, and people have been very helpful. Some people are younger and had to have cell phone warnings. It makes me wonder if they are going to be sent home, or are they going to take it more seriously, heed the warning. It also makes me wonder if if as we start to work through the program and stuff like that, what's going to happen? I know that we're going to be going on simulators. I know we're going to do coupling tomorrow. We're going to go out and going to see the coupling process. And I think we're going to work on Schneider's pre-chip, how they want it done, which is great. It's great that every single company has their own way because, people have different equipment. If they want you to inspect something a certain way, you do it. You follow protocol and you follow company policy. That's what makes sense, right? Every company has their policies. If you work in a call center, they say, don't say this to a customer or handle calls this way. Use these tools this way. It seems completely logical to me. Nothing I have heard so far seems bad. I know a lot of people like to complain about things online. People will say, this company is good, this company is bad. All the Swift memes out there that happened years ago. People now, I'll tell you this, Swift took it seriously. And now they have a heck of a training program. It's actually supposed to be a really good company to work for as a new CDL driver now. They supposedly have a really good training program. So it's something that they've turned around. That's good. And I'm hoping that my experience with Schneider will be great. So far, it's been great. The only thing I really wish I would have had a heads up to earlier was the long sleeves and long pants. But guess what? I'm a freak that doesn't happen to have that stuff on me most of the time. Most of the time, people actually have those things. They will actually have long sleeves and long pants. They're not like me and just wear shorts year round and wear short sleeves. And then if it happens to be winter, you just put on a couple of layers of hoodies and a jacket. Anyway, so it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool seeing the whole process and seeing everything and finally being there. Got the gate key now. So tomorrow I can park behind the gate and then, feel fully like an employee, I guess. So yeah, we're good. We're good. Did the hair test, did the urine test, did the physical, got a new DOT card because heaven forbid my 50-day-old. But what's kind of annoying is I just got through like literally last week laminating the thing. So now I have to rescan. I have to scan the thing and I got to get it made into a new card. So that way it's, you got it all. And I'll keep the long form long form version of it nearby. But anyway, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And, got to make sure I read the documents they say to read and do what they say to do. And we're going to get through this and it's going to be great. And in 2 weeks, I'll be on the road with a trainer. Oh, that's one thing that, if you're watching this video and you're curious about the training, what do they call it? Training, TE, I think they call them. Training, not expert, training. It's not evaluator, not examiner, it's not training, whatever. What is it called? Anyway, whoever the person is that they put out with me, they'd give a questionnaire today and they said mention your preferences. One of them was, how do you describe yourself when it comes down to your smoking habits? Are you a non-smoker, a smoker, vaping, whatever? Non-smoker. Okay. It says, are you okay with a TE that is a smoker? I said, no. They said, would you prefer a male or a female? I'm like, I don't care. A trainer is a trainer. Men and women are both very effective trainers. And whoever they put as a trainer for me is going to have their hands cut, hands full because I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to want to try to get all the information I can out of them and maximize that time. So hopefully I don't drive the person crazy for a week. But no, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to, seeing the simulators because it looked pretty awesome. It looked like 3 big monitors. It looked like the best gaming setup ever. But anyway, it looks very high tech, very good, very streamlined where they can, in a very safe environment, they can say, whoa, stop, or, try that. And then you don't crunch something or whatever, follow procedure. But tomorrow, I think the game plan is we're going to go out, we're going to look at coupling, and then we're going to be outside until about noon. I think it's supposed to get up into the high 90s or triple digits. We'll see what happens. But anyway, good first day. I don't know if I'm going to do a recap every single day. I'll probably just do an end of week recap on Friday and call it there, because right now it's about half an hour past I wanted to go to bed. Since I have to be up at 4:30 to get down there by 6:30, and I never ever like arriving any place late. I always make sure I get up early and get out early and get places early. That's why I was there 45 minutes early today. And that is driving slow, like I said. It doesn't take me very long to get up in the morning. I'm not the kind of person that has sluggish and requires caffeine and whatever. I'm the kind of person that I lay down in bed at night, close my eyes, I'm out to sleep in a few moments. And then when my alarm goes off, it goes ding, 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 ding. And I wake straight up and I do a couple of stretches and I'm alert. I was trained a long time ago to ignore my alarm, and then I had to untrain that. And my wife was the reason why I untrained that. So she's the reason why I get up when I'm supposed to. On my first alarm, even though I set multiples and backups and stuff like that, I end up having as my morning routine, shutting off all my alarms. So I end up saying to Alexa, if I said it right now, it's going to, what are you saying to me? The Amazon Echo, I'll put it that way. Cancel my alarms and then turn off the alarms on my phone. Battery backups. But no, good. We had a good day, and this is longer than I expected it to be. But hey, I gotta shut this thing down and go to bed because I have now 6.5 hours of sleep. So, like I said, I don't want to end up starting to run a sleep deficit. So I'm gonna probably make sure I'm in bed on time going forward. But 6.5 hours is fine for me. Normally, if I'm working during the day and I get up early, usually 5-6 hours is perfectly fine for me. But anyway, let's not waste any more time. I'm just going to go to bed now. Take care. Thanks for watching.